So this video features former Congresswoman and Navy veteran Elaine Luria, alongside Adam Kinzinger, and honestly, what she says is pretty chilling. Elaine Luria talks about her time in the US Navy and makes one thing very clear: when you're serving, politics doesn't matter. You don't ask if someone is a Democrat or a Republican. Everyone is there to serve the Constitution and protect the country. Period. But she says that today, things feel very different. The political rhetoric around January 6th and everything that followed has created a dangerous environment, especially for people in the military. According to her, service members are now being put in a position where simply saying, "I will only follow legal orders," can get you attacked or punished. She points out how disturbing that is. If someone powerful, like a US senator, can be targeted just for saying that, what about the average sailor or soldier in the field? What are they supposed to do if they're ever given an illegal order? Luria argues that this isn't just about January 6th anymore. She says the fallout from it, especially during the second Trump administration, has continued to ripple through the system and has had a chilling effect on both democracy and the armed forces. Adam Kinzinger backs her up and adds an important message: don't give up. He says chaos is exactly what bad actors thrive on. It energizes them, but it wears everyone else down. And that's the real danger: people getting exhausted and checking out. His message is simple: stay engaged, stay hopeful, and push through the exhaustion, because giving up is how the country truly loses. That's what this video is really about: how political chaos affects the military, democracy, and the people sworn to protect both.
Like the video, subscribe to 4-5 Perspective, and join the conversation for more deep dives and honest political analysis.
Well, as I said, the big news this afternoon, Anthony Albanese announcing there will be a royal commission into the Bondi terror attack. Of course, now a new argument will unfold over who's heading the commission and whether she is appropriate, and of course, whether we like the terms of reference. Interestingly, earlier today, the secretary of the Lebanese Muslim Association insisted that a royal commission should not only examine anti-Semitism, but Islamophobia, and indeed all forms of minority discrimination. Anyway, here to discuss this and other news of the day, Sky News contributor Carolee Castambanis and broadcaster and producer of the hit podcast The Boy in the Goldmine, Dee Dunlevy. Ladies, welcome to the program. Dee, to you first. In announcing the Royal Commission this afternoon, the Prime Minister said he had listened to Australians. How much credence did you give that? Because it strikes me, if he had listened from the beginning, maybe we wouldn't be needing a Royal Commission at all.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, James. If he'd been listening after the October 7 attacks to what was being chanted on the steps of the Sydney Opera House, then he would have known from that point that there was this rise in anti-Semitism. If he'd driven past any Jewish school where children are having to go to and from school with guards at the entrance to the facilities, if he'd taken notice of the news of fire bombings of synagogues, then he would have known well ahead of this. Look, let's be honest, he did not want to have this Royal Commission. And this spin that we're hearing today, that he's been listening, well, he has been, because he's seen that list of eminent Australians, of people of the highest moral character around the country, calling for this Royal Commission to happen. And then, as you mentioned a moment ago, the polls now telling him that the majority of Australians also want this Royal Commission. He had no choice. And to say that he's just been listening for 25 days is ridiculous. I think he would never have said, "Oh, we can't hold it because it will platform anti-Semitism," or "it will take too long." Those were excuses he was putting up because he was trying to stop it from happening. And I'm very pleased that he's finally given in to what the people of Australia actually want.
Carolee, the other thing I noticed in Albanese's press conference this afternoon was that when he was asked by journalists, why has it taken so long? Why have you spent weeks on this and didn't decide earlier? He would quickly talk about how I sat down with a rabbi and I sat in his home on his couch and I cried tears with these people. And he immediately just went to personal stories rather than to give plain answers as to why it's taken so long. It struck me as a pretty political sort of tactic. Did you find his press conference genuine? That was one of the words he said. He said, "I've genuinely listened." Or did you find it a press conference conducted very much by a politician?
I think the latter with what you've said. I mean, what's he had? Suddenly a road to Damascus moment? I mean, this is ridiculous. 25 days ago, 15 innocent Australians were gunned down in cold blood on the shores of Bondi Beach as they celebrated the first night of Hanukkah in a community event. And now the Prime Minister, he's trying to gaslight everybody. Didn't he say a couple of weeks ago, oh, it'd be too painful for the Jewish community, it would take years to get the answers, this isn't the way? We've had loads of open letters written by business leaders, politicians, sports stars, Labor politicians, former Labor politicians, even the Human Rights Commissioner. Make no doubt about this. And you know what? Labor is going to try and spin it that, oh, we've got a Prime Minister who's listening. No, he didn't listen. He's never said who these experts were. And you know what? On the 21st of September 2025, he didn't take the advice of experts not to recognise the state of Palestine, which would be seen as a reward for the Hamas terrorists. He didn't take that advice. He's taking the advice of internal Labor polling. And it's not good enough. And no, OK, a Royal Commission is being held. That's a tick. But no, he doesn't get a tick, because in the times when Australians wanted their Prime Minister to stand up, unite the country and lead, if he couldn't reflexively internally on December 14, on that night, say we need a Royal Commission, and he's needed 25 days to do it, it's an absolute insult. And he's only playing petty politics as per usual.
Absolutely. Dee, the government have talked a lot about the need for social cohesion, and we all want social cohesion. I don't think they get a special medal because they're particularly fond of it. We all want it. But I mentioned a moment ago the Lebanese Muslim Association's call for the terms of reference for a royal commission prompted by the murder of Jews for being Jews to include Islamophobia. What's your reaction to that, and how do calls like that help social cohesion?
Well, they don't. It's a bit rich, isn't it? I mean, it's really galling to hear them come out at this particular time, especially as we know, and this was confirmed by the Australian Federal Police, that the Bondi shooters were motivated by the hateful ideology of the Islamic State. So I don't think that that is a fair thing to be calling for at this time. Their timing is appalling. And can I just add something to what you mentioned to Carolee a moment ago? The Prime Minister saying that behind the scenes he's been crying with people and stuff. That's all well and good, but he's a public official. And at the time when we needed him to stand up and be our leader and to give us some guidance and to look as though he was dealing with this situation in a strong and decisive way, doing things behind closed doors is not the way to behave.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's no doubt about that at all. But, well, we got there in the end. We now have a Royal Commission, and we'll watch with interest how it plays out. Ladies, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it.